Kylan's latest HOH reign of messiness has kicked into full gear. He went through with his plan to nominate Hannah and Tiffany, despite Hannah and Tiffany trying to make a final three with him over the past week. But Kylan has his reasons for nominating Tiffany. Tiffany did try and throw Kylan's game under the bus many times in this game. So if Kylan holds a grudge, he holds a grudge. But he continues to have some really bad jury management, to say the least. Kylan comes into this week already having pissed off Claire. Alyssa in her exit interviews said positive things about everybody except Kylan, it seemed like. And he's already pissed off people in the cookout before this week, and now probably not going to get Tiffany or Hannah's vote if they decide to be bitter. And Tiffany probably going to be bitter. Let's be real. So Kylan, and especially Kylan's need to want to go to the end with Xavier to prove he's the better player, is not going to work if he doesn't have jury votes. But it doesn't seem like the jury is overall bitter. I mean, Claire's bitter ass coming out of the house is annoying as hell. She's just bitter because she got her ass played. Her exit interviews are so obnoxious. Bitter juries can be annoying in general, but Claire really talking about other people in this game being coasters is fucking ridiculous. I've said for a week now, or longer really, but Claire is Claire, the chair. I mean, Alex, Meg, and Days tried to tell me on the rankings that will air later that Claire actually played a game of some kind, or she had at some point played more than Big D is what they were saying. But I mean, if anybody in the comments could honestly tell me one game move that Claire made that Tiffany didn't make first, I'm open to listening. But Claire didn't do shit in this fucking game. So she needs to take her bitter ass and sit the fuck down. So with Tiffany being, well, before Tiffany was nominated, she had a talk with Kylan. And even Tiffany finally admitted that last week was her karma because everything she was saying about others, she was doing herself. True, she talked all this shit about Kylan and Sarah Beth's closeness when she was close to Derek X and Claire. She talked all about Oz's emotional stuff when Tiffany has been the most emotional player in this game. But I'm glad Tiffany can admit that this, because her stands certainly can. They've been acting for weeks now like Tiffany can do no wrong, while Tiffany admitted it herself that she was being a hypocrite. If only stands could admit their hypocrisy. Ozza and Kylan continued their newest little alliance. It's very interesting to me. And you know, the talk of a possible final three between Ozza, Derek F, and Kylan is the final three Ozza should be talking about. Because I feel like if there's anyone Ozza could beat at the end, it's those two. I don't know if Derek F gets enough respect, and he shouldn't. Because if Ozza doesn't get enough respect for her great social game, then she needs to sit next to somebody like Derek F. Or someone like Kylan, who at this point is pissing a lot of people off. And if the jury's bitter, you want to sit next to somebody who the jury is going to be bitter against. Any final three Ozza decides to go to, she's probably going to have to win that final three competition, though, because if Derek F is a possibility to go to the end, I think anybody takes him. But Ozza, people don't listen to Ozza. People don't give Ozza enough credit. Ozza was trying to tell Kylan the truth today, that it's probably best for Kylan's game to target Hannah this round and not Tiffany, because Tiffany and Xavier are going to go against each other if Tiffany stays in this game. But Kylan went ahead with nominating Tiffany and Hannah, with Tiffany as the target. And if Tiffany's on that block, she is gone. because Derek F and Xavier will vote her out no matter what Ozza votes. There's only 3 votes this round. And Derek F and Xavier can't control it. If Tiffany wins veto, then Hannah's going home because Derek F and Xavier control it, unless Hannah can somehow convince Xavier to keep her over Ozza. But at this point, I don't know if that would be possible. I mean, nobody wants to admit it, but I did see some talks today about how Ozza really is playing a June game. And it's true, June may be a little bit more aggressive and not as good of a social game, but June was a floater for sure. And she went to the end with somebody that was just more hated than her and Allison. So Ozza's playing that same kind of floater game. And if she can make Kylan be her Allison, then Ozza can get those votes in the end, just like June did. They are the same because they stay around from their cooking. That really is the strategy in this house. Ozza has not seen the block because of her cooking and because of her great social ability. I mean, she's maneuvered well in this house that she just does not get the credit for, but she does deserve. And I'm gonna beat a dead horse. I will beat a dead horse talking about social games because it seems like so many podcasters, so many people on Reddit try to discredit social games when shows like Big Brother and Survivor are social games. They're social experiments, and thus they are social games. So your social ability should be a priority at times in these games. And that's why Xavier's social game is not being rated well, because Xavier was able to not only make himself a smaller target, but early in the game set himself up on top of an alliance. And then when players like Tiffany were not developing relationships with the big alliance that's going to the end, instead, Tiffany is trying to develop all these relationships with the outsiders when the plan is for the outsiders to go home and the 6 to make the finals. So that made no sense from Tiffany's gameplay. That's why Tiffany trying to go back and forth between keeping Christian was stupid, because she was never going to have the numbers. That's why going back and forth between trying to keep Derek X was stupid, because she didn't have the numbers, because she spent all that time working the players outside of the cookout rather than players in the cookout. Meanwhile, Xavier developed relationships with Big D and Ozza. And right now, Ozza has, like I've said on this channel a couple times now, Ozza has been a key in this game for a very long time. And Xavier was the first to get to that key. Now Kylan is trying, but Kylan somehow just, I think it's because of his bad social game. That's the reason. Kylan's a bigger target than Xavier to a lot of players left in the game. Even the person that stays between Hannah and Tiffany might now target Kylan over Xavier. So Xavier's social game and developing the relationships within the cookout, when the plan was the cookout to get to the end, was smart as fuck and was great socially, because he was already able to be like the glue to the cookout. He was the glue when Tiffany and Hausa were not getting along, when Big D and Tiffany were not getting along, when Kylan and Ozza were not getting along. Xavier was the glue, and he took advantage of the fact that the plan was the cookout to get to the end. And Tiffany and Hannah let that falter. And that's why they are in the spot that they are in now. So podcasters and Reddit who doesn't want to, consider how important social games are in these games just don't make any fucking sense. I mean, it should be no surprise. I don't think most of these male podcasters or a lot of people from Reddit have a good enough social game to get laid, let alone, be in a big game like this. I think they would fail miserably at a social game like Big Brother or Survivor. I don't think they would have it in them. But that is where we stand. Chaos Kylan has been a chaotic fucking mess every time he's in power. He's pissed off more people this week, and Tiffany And Hannah, he has a lot of blood on his hands from these HOHs. He's building his resume, but is he losing votes in the process? This man is so chaotic. He is really a menace. He talked to the cams today, you know, made Twitter get annoyed for a while, talking to the cams, saying that Tiffany should have never lied to him. Tiffany took too long to redevelop the relationship with him, and then said that whoever sent the letter to Tiffany during her HOH reign should have told her to stop lying to Kai. And this happened on Tiffany's son's birthday. Chaos Kyland in full effect.